Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We got a great eye-catching one for you today. As you can see, we've got this scrolling banner and it's continuously going to scroll across your screen. When you hover over it, it's going to stop and they can click on the button, do what they need to do. So let's get started. Really nice feature to have on your site. I'm going to enable the visual builder here. Now let's go down, we'll delete the section that it's in. Blue tab for a section. Let's add a new section, little blue button to add a new section. I'm going to use a regular section. Inside, I'm going to put a column with a small section on the right so we can pop a button in there. In the left-hand side, I'm going to put a blurb module. Fantastic. Roll down a little bit so we can see it. I'm not going to use a title for mine. In the paragraph text or body text down here, I'm going to say sale now on. Whatever you want to say with yours, obviously. I'm going to roll down a bit, image and icon. I'm going to use an icon for mine today. I'm going to flip the little switch there. And let's perhaps have an exclamation. That'll work perfectly. Great. Down below that, we've got a link here. And if you want to link the whole module somewhere, it's not a bad idea. I'll probably link it to that sale page, wherever the sale is. Just put your link in there. Always best practice, if you're linking to your own site, leave it in the same window. If you're linking off-site, open it in a new tab. Great. Well, let's move over to our design tab now. I'm going to go down to image and icon. I'm going to leave it that default blue. Obviously, make yours whatever color you want. But I want it to be on the left-hand side of the writing. Fantastic. Now I think I'm going to make mine perhaps 50 pixels. Works for me. I'm going to roll over paragraph text there. I'm going to hit the little pencil icon. It'll take me straight to the styling for it. I'm going to pop it in the middle of the column that it's in. I'm going to capitalize it. If you want to, you can change fonts up here. And Divi's got a crazy amount of fonts. It really does. To audition one, just roll over it. It gives you an example. I'm going to stick with the default for mine today. But I'm going to make it bold. And I'm going to bring it up to about 42 pixels. Again, adjust to taste. I am going to change the color in a while when I put a background in. But for the time being, I'm going to leave it just like that. But what I will do is I'll change the line height so that it's more in line with our little logo there. So body line height here. Let's take it down a little bit. I think that works for me. About 1.3 seems to be fairly central. We can always adjust it a bit more later on. Fantastic. I'm going to leave that just as it is for the moment. Now let's add a button. In this little column on the right hand side, I'm just going to add a regular Divi button. And let's perhaps say shop now. Obviously put the button link in there, probably use the same link as we used for the module there. Same best practices. Let's go over to design, just style that button so it's going to stand out a bit more. Alignment wise, I want it to be in the middle of the column that it's sitting in. I'm going to go down to the button itself, use custom styles for the button. I'm going to keep this very simple. Button text size, I may take that down in a minute. Text color, I'm going to make it white. Disappears there. Let's give it a red background perhaps. There it is. And when we hover over it, common to all Divi modules, if you roll over the dark writing within a module, you'll see some little icons. If there's an arrow, we can set a hover state. I'm going to click on the hover state. I'm going to make it that default blue. Great. I'm not going to have a border on there. Let's just flip that back to desktop view so it's red again. Not going to have a border on there. So I'm going to take that away. I will make it rounded, sort of pill shape. So I'm going to put a 50 in there. It'll put in the pics for you. Makes it a sort of pill shape. Letter spacing's fine. And the font's fine. I will capitalize it. That looks a little bit big. Let's take it down a little bit in size. Button text size. Let's make it perhaps 16. Great, that works. And if we roll down a bit more, I'm not going to show an icon at the moment. It's going to show an icon when you roll over it. I'm going to keep this just as a button like that. And spacing wise, I want to pop it down a little bit so it's more in line with our other modules here. So if we go into spacing, I can do that with a bit of margin on the top. Just increment up till it's in about the place that you want it. Something like that. Again, we can adjust that when we need to in a minute. Okay, I'm going to go into the actual section it's in now, and we'll give this a background. Blue tab for the section. Background's always under content. I'll put in a dark, spacey looking image. I'm going to hit the plus there. There's the image I used last time. I'm going to have it top center. That'll work. It's got those stars in the background. That's great. While we're in the actual section, I'm going to go over to advanced and make sure I hide any overflow, because we're throwing this, or going to be throwing this, outside of the actual section itself. So in advanced, we can go down to visibility, horizontal and vertical overflow. Change both of those to hidden. Let's also take away any padding top and bottom, so we've just got it the size of the row that's in it. So we can go to design to do that. Spacing. I'm going to chuck a 0 in. I'm going to hit the chain. That's better. Starting to look the way that we want it here. So let's save our section. I'm going to change this text to white in color now that we've got a dark background. Again, just click on the little paintbrush to go straight there. Fantastic. Okay, before we go any further and animate this thing, let's make sure it's the way that we want it on tablet and mobile. So let's go down a little purple button. I'm going to flip to tablet mode. I think for tablet, I like to have it in line. I'll fix that with a bit of a code in a minute. I might take that text down slightly on tablet also when it's in line. That's not too bad on the phone. Again, I might want to take that text down so it doesn't break into two lines there. But let's do that. I'm going to go into the module. Going to go over to design. And that's the body text right there. Let's move this out of the way so you can see what's going on. And body text size will roll over. There's a little mobile phone type icon there. If we click on it, make sure you're on a phone view. Take that down to about perhaps 25 pixels. That'll work. And let's go tablet. We'll take that down to about 30 pixels. Okay, let's see what we've got here. And we'll go back to desktop view. I'm going to make this row in line so it stays in one line. I might change it when we get onto mobile view. So we'll go into the row itself. We're going to go over to advanced and we're going to use some custom CSS. We're going to use their freeform CSS. And we want to work on the row that we're working on. So I'm just going to say selector. I'm going to open and close some curly brackets there. And let's start this animation. I'm going to say animation. I'm going to give it a name, colon. I'll call it slide left. I think that's what I used before. I want it to run for about 10 seconds. I want it to keep running, so it wants to be infinite. And I want it to be a constant speed, so I'm going to say linear. Great. Now I don't want this text to wrap. I don't want it to break into two lines when the screen gets smaller. So I'm going to say white space, no wrap. So it's white, dash space, colon, no wrap. Fantastic. Put another little semicolon there in case we want to add some more code. Now we've got to create this animation that we called slide left. So if we drop down a bit more, we're using keyframes to do this today. I'm going to say at keyframes, no gap. Then the name, which is slide left, animation name itself. Now we can open and close some more curly brackets and tell it what we actually want it to do. Well, at 0%, when the page actually loads, We'll open this, close some more curly brackets. I want it to translate. So I'm going to say transform colon translate. I'm going to open some round brackets there. I want it to translate by negative 100%. So it's going to move 100% to the left. Negative 100%. As you see, it's already started animating. Let's grab that. I'm going to copy the whole thing. I'm going to drop down. I'm going to paste it in there. And I'm going to say at 100%, the end of our 10 seconds right there, I want it to be positive 100%. So it's going to start rolling across the screen. When we hover over it, I want it to stop though. So I'm going to go down, I'm going to say selector, colon, hover, no gaps there. I'm going to open some more curly brackets. I'm going to say animation, colon, none, to stop it. Now when you hover over it, it's going to stop. Fantastic. Okay, well, let's take a look at tablet and mobile. I'm going to go over to design. I'm going to go down to spacing. And padding wise, let's hit the little mobile phone icon, take a look at it on tablet. Roll down so we can see it. Yeah, we want to make that so it displays flex. So let's go back here, back to our advanced and custom CSS here. And in the selector part, I'm going to put display, colon, flex, semicolon. And that's lined it up a bit better. That's great. But it looks like we need to adjust where the text is. And we've got more space on the bottom than the top. So if we go to our design now, we'll go down to the spacing. Let's try putting a 0 in the bottom of the padding. That's more central right there. Let's just save our changes here. And we'll go back in to our little blurb module and adjust that bit of text there. It looks like we need to drop that button down slightly also. So we'll go over to design, body text. I think on desktop it's actually in about the right place. Looks fairly central. Let's take a quick look on tablet. Make sure that we go down to our line height down here. We'll go to tablet view. Yeah, on the tablet, it needs to come down slightly. That looks about right to me. That actually makes that button look a bit more in line too. Great, well, let's have a look on mobile. I don't think it's going to work on mobile. I mean, that's okay. But that button is just too tight there. I don't think there's enough screen to fit that all on there. So what I'm going to do is we'll save this. Save the blurb settings right there. We'll go back into the row once more. Green tab for the row. Now let's go down to our custom CSS where we were. I'm going to add a media query. So I'm going to say at media, screen, and I'm going to open some round brackets. And in between those round brackets, we can choose a screen size that we want to affect. So I'm going to say any screen with a max width, let's say 480 pixels, I think I used before. We can open and close some curly brackets now. Or we can decide what we want it to do. So let's open those brackets. And we want to get our selector, which is our row basically. Open and close some more curly brackets. I'm going to say display, colon, block, semicolon. And that'll make any screen that's smaller than 480 pixels, it will display it stacked on top of each other. Just make sure this is going to work. Let's hit our mobile devices now. There we go. We've got our button on the bottom. That's fine. Just need to give it a little bit more padding on the bottom there to give it some breathing space. So if we go back into our design now, back to our spacing, and perhaps give it 30 pixels. That works perfectly. And when we hover over, it's going to stop. They can do their thing. Great, so we should be good to go. Let's save our changes now. We'll save draft or publish if you're ready. And let's exit the Visual Builder. And there we have it. That's actually a very nice smooth effect, but due to my screen recording software, it looks slightly glitchy, but it's actually very smooth. And if we hover over it, it's going to stop, and we can hit the button, do what we need to do there. So there you go, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't forget, if you have any questions, pop them below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you, or make a little demo video like this one. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.